Greetings from the Philippines to the world. We are on Facebook Live on Eagle News and also on our streaming site, eaglenewslive.com. Watch us on our YouTube channel at Eagle News. I am Cesar Vallejos. Welcome to Open for Business. Join me discover the latest news and information in business around the world. Stay ahead of the curve from vision to action. Government officials, industry experts, blockchain enthusiasts, cryptocurrency traders, and students all trooped to EBC to discuss the current trends and developments of blockchain and cryptocurrency. Our distinguished speakers shared how these emerging technologies disrupt businesses and how customer experience is being changed with these new emerging technologies. Watch the part 2 of the EBC Forum on blockchain and cryptocurrency and discover the investment, legal, operational, and regulatory issues from thought leaders, experiences, insights, and real-world applications. Enjoy watching.
Wanted to show you the FinTech. This is the FinTech landscape mapped across 8 categories worldwide. Okay, so you can see that there are 8 categories that affect us now: payments, insurance, planning, lending, crowdfunding, blockchain, trading, investments, data and analytics, and then security. And then we also have, of course, certain aspects of planning, lending, crowdfunding, blockchain, trading and investments, data analytics, and security intersects with securities regulation. Now, why am I in particular very focused on securities regulation? Because that's our function at the Securities and Exchange Commission. So securities, shares of stock, in theory, by law, are under our regulation, under our jurisdiction. And it is the position of the SEC, and it's also the position of the IOSCO. IOSCO is, by the way, the International Organization for Securities Commissions. So IOSCO over there. It's like the UN for securities regulators all over the world. And the position of IOSCO is that things like this are technically considered can be considered securities, and thus falling under our domain. Now, this is the basic approach of the Commission to FinTech, because even though technologies change, but the main investor protection principles, which is our primary responsibility at the SEC, they're still there. The KYC, AML, transparency, price discovery, public disclosure, suitability, fiduciary responsibility, that's still all there. So even with the changes in the technology, even with the advances in the technology, we still have to keep up. All the basic principles are still there. And it is admittedly difficult trying to find, as my other commissioner would call it, Commissioner Amatong would call it, he calls it finding the sweet spot, trying to find where the current system and FinTech intersect properly. So it's admittedly a bit of a challenge as it stands. These are the 3 ongoing SEC FinTech initiatives. There are 3 rules already with us. Okay, one is the crowdfunding rules, which have already applied. We issued that out early this year. And then we have the digital asset offering rules, the DAO, what we call the DAO rules, and which, by the way, is how we define all these different things: bitcoins, cryptocurrencies, all these connected assets. We are going to lump them all together and call them digital assets, and they all fall under that. So the DAO rules are supposed to define, okay, and discuss what is considered a DAO and what falls under us. Now, the digital asset exchange rules, this is even more complicated. The digital asset exchange rules are the rules on our part, if you, as a company, want to come and register with the SEC as an exchange. If you're familiar with the Philippine Stock Exchange, the Philippine Stock Exchange is our example of that. The Philippine Stock Exchange is what we call a self-regulatory organization. And I know I'm getting technical now, I'm sorry. No, but a self-regulatory organization, meaning it is an exchange where items can come in between, you can buy and sell there. That is where we intend all these digital assets to be in play. Okay? As much as possible, we don't want digital assets to be sold just online. Part of our regulatory function, in which might affect a lot of your businesses, I'm sorry about that, but that's the regulatory direction we're going, is that it has to be on an exchange. Why? Because if it's on an exchange, which is a self-regulatory organization, it's easier for us in government to keep track of. It helps ensure safety for everyone, for the investors in particular. So these two rules, the digital asset offering and digital asset exchange rules, the DAX and DAO rules, have not yet been issued. But we're looking at issuing. We were supposed to issue that this year, but there has been some coordination issues with the final drafts with Banco Central and the other financial regulators. So we're looking at that at early next year. My strongest suggestion to everyone who's looking into this kind of business, you start looking at the drafts. The memorandum circular drafts are online. They're on our website, www.sec.gov.ph. I encourage you to take a quick look at them because more or less that's the final versions. Those are the final versions already, save for some tweaking for grammar and jurisdictional issues, but more or less that's it. So I encourage you very strongly to look at it, download it, look at it, because you're going to have to comply with it if you're going to go into this business.
Open for Business is back, and we are honored to have with us the Securities and Exchange Commission, Commissioner Kelvin Lee. Thank you very much, Commissioner, for coming, for gracing the show.
Thank you for having me here.
So far, Commissioner, what have you, felt that should be addressed by the government that will help the blockchain and cryptocurrency community?
Well, it's clear that there's a lot of interest. A lot of people want to get into it, want to invest, want to do things in it. So there is an impetus on the part of government na talaga to proceed with all our regulations in relation to that, because that is the way you legitimize these players. That's how you legitimize the coins, the digital assets, the digital asset exchanges, by registering with the appropriate regulator, which in this case, it is the SEC's position that we are the regulators for that nga, no? So hopefully with the discussion this afternoon, it will push us even more to finally release our two memorandum circulars. One on digital asset offering, which talks about and defines what is considered digital asset, meaning the Bitcoin, the cryptocurrencies, all folded under digital asset. And then our memorandum circular 2 on digital asset exchanges, which is like the rules that will govern the creation of self-regulatory organizations for exchanges where the digital assets can be bought and sold. So parang we'll create many PSEs, many stock exchanges. We will call them digital asset exchanges through that second set of rules. So we're looking at early 2020, first quarter of 2020 siguro, hopefully. So that we can help legitimize this already and then move everything forward.
What's your outlook on FinTech? And aside from FinTech, we also learned this morning that it's not only FinTech where the blockchain technology will be applied. So your outlook on FinTech and the rest of the other applications of blockchain technology.
Well, FinTech is growing. We are one of the countries that actually has a chance to try and become a hub for FinTech within the Southeast Asian region. Right now, the strongest in relation to FinTech is Singapore. They host a FinTech festival every year, but we're looking to match that. There are several FinTech players here, and there's also us, the SEC. We're looking at possibly hosting our own FinTech festival, precisely because there's been so much interest and so many players. There are last I checked, several hundred FinTech companies already, and that's with the industry medyo starting pa lang, ano? So you can just imagine 2020 and beyond, there's going to be even more. There's going to be even more interest, more players, more investments in this. So I look forward to helping that particular industry grow with our role here with the SEC. So that's something to look forward to.
How receptive is the government in making sure that, of course, some business communities would say the lesser regulation, the better. but how?
Which I understand. Which I understand.
How receptive is the government in really helping promote this industry to address not only the local market but the global marketplace?
Well, we're very open to working together with all the players, in relation to blockchain in particular. Just so you know, the commission itself, I handle the Information Communications Technology Department among many other departments in the commission. That's why I've been so involved with the FinTech and blockchain, looking at blockchain. And I've actually been looking at possible ways to incorporate blockchain into our own systems in the commission. So that's still a work in progress. There are so many people, so many proposals, so many setups, so that's still not yet final, but I am very seriously looking into it. It shows that the interest once again is there, and it shows once again that the technology, although admittedly not perfect, has great deal of potential, especially for us in government. Thank you for hosting it. It's a good way to let people know about these emerging technologies, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, what we call digital assets now. It's a good way as well to help the general public learn and decide if and when to invest in particular areas. So I congratulate Eagle Broadcasting for that. I hope you can come up with more of these. And thank you for inviting me pala to help discuss it. No, so I appreciate that as well. So congratulations to Eagle Broadcasting on that point.
Thank you, Commissioner. It's
So, by 2021, they are targeting 100 cities with 350,000 charging pile, 10 million users. Charging time is 900 million time. And what I'm trying to tell you, this company issue a coin, a token. And every time people charge, they will use the token. Means the token will be issued how many times? 900 million times. Because every time you charge, you need to go through this token. So, will the token being rotated many times? That's why I'm freaking excited with this particular coin. Agree? Okay, now. Okay, how are they going to do it? This is case study, guys. This is just a case study, all right? So, how are they going to do it? They use sharing economy model. Be a platform owner, right? Share economy and back engine using blockchain. That's even more interesting, all right? So, how are they going to make the infra throughout the China is available? Very simple. They launch another business model. They launch dealership business model. Means, in one area, 3,000, anybody can become a dealer for that particular province. Right? Then, to become a dealer, there's a 3 stage. Either have to pay to Xiangchuang 500,000, 145 million, or even 5 million renminbi to secure that area. You are the one who has that area. Okay, so the best part, this is interesting part. Out of how many cities? 3,200 cities. Whoever want to become dealer, the payment must be 50-50. 50% in renminbi, 50% must buy their coin, which is DEC, Distributed Energy Chain coin, which is available in global exchanger. So will the price go higher? If anybody want to become a exchanger, a dealer, the payment must be in 50-50. Okay? So, what are the duties of dealer? Number 1, to, let's say, a secure Kuzan area. This is Kuzan area, right? Right? So, I need to tell the people, the public, plus whoever want to build their charging pile, right? So, regarding Xiangchuang apps. That's number 1. Number 2, convert all existing charging pile company to also register with Xiangchuang business model. That's number 2. Number 3, to look for new places. Interesting part. Maybe I cover around Kuzan area. I saw this cornered area. The land is empty. I go and see, as a dealer, I go and see the owner of the land. Tell the owner, why don't you build a charging pile in your land? Not to worry, because if you are interested, this is a franchise business, right? Behind it, there are 2 banks get ready to fund whoever wants to build their charging pile. One is ICBC Bank, the other bank is Bank of Communication. Because most of the bank in China now, most of them, they are not eager to give a loan in property sector. But whoever want to involve in this new renewable energy, the bank anytime willingly, happily to fund that particular project, because this is a good business sector in China, right? So anyway, then as a dealer, they need to train the public and train the charging pile owner. Okay, why need to join this Xiangchuang platform? First, one-stop management platform for pile owner, provide support for charging owner, making support, frontline and everything is being provided. If you have no experience on it, not to worry. Everything is
Open for
provided.
Business is continuing this coverage of the EBC forum on blockchain and cryptocurrency, and one of our guest speakers is from Zhangchuang Blockchain Technology, the Southeast Asia Regional Marketing Officer, Mr. Alham Jasam. Alham, thank you very much for coming to the show.
Thank you.
You are basically a banker. You know, you've worked
Yes,
in the
banker.
banking
Yeah.
industry. And here in the Philippines, so we noticed that it's also the banking industry that's really looking at the blockchain technology, and we're very happy that Eagle Broadcasting Corporation is, one of the networks who identified it first. That
All right.
this is
For the
really
new.
an important platform. In your case, as a banker, I know that you have you did a presentation, but in a nutshell, why are banks focusing now on the use of the blockchain technology?
Yeah, for me, obviously, this is something that the banking industry should not ignore, right? Because recently I read a lot of articles. So one of the articles that this is a new sector that the bank should venture. At the same time, the banks don't want to lose whatever their wealth or the things that they control. So I always quote this one from Bill Gates. Banking is essential, but banks are not. So what's the threat here? The threat is actually especially IT company. The IT company is getting bigger and bigger. Just imagine if the IT company now is moving to blockchain industry. That even really, for me, is really a threat to the banking sector. So obviously they don't want to ignore. They should not ignore this new industry, the new wealth we created. Then they should focus. Okay. Anyway, we need banks anyway, right? So because people trust all the old system, and you still need old system. For me, technology leads regulation. So once it's regulated, then only the banking sector will participate more.
Okay.
That will bring more volume.
So somehow, that regulation is positive.
It is.
Yeah, because sometimes, some, sectors would want lesser regulation. But of course, the way you explain it, it's really something that will protect our people. You also mentioned, Aham, that what is important is the infrastructure.
Yeah.
Of course, countries in Southeast Asia would have varying levels in terms of infrastructure development, but we're very happy here in the Philippines because we have the build campaign of the government, where there's
Alright.
really it's seen as the one of the most glorious era of in terms of infrastructure development, the
Okay.
golden era actually.
Right.
Now, in terms of infrastructure, what should be focused on, and that should be fully developed for the blockchain technology to really boom in the markets?
As far as I'm concerned, that currently what is currently in the market, which is people holding the fiat currency. So first is the security. So anyhow also, when you go back to the public, the infra in the market, they're still accepting the fiat currency. So there must be an infra between cryptos to fiat. So it's kind of merchant program. So means the merchant will accept cryptos, then which is endorsed by the regulators. So everything, then slowly you will, not to say force, then the public will get interested and they get to know more about this new industry. So I think it's maybe due to the value appreciation and the depreciation. What's my main concern here is actually as long as we are holding the fiat currency, is the issue is the purchasing power, right? So this purchasing power that really makes people so keen to know about this new wealth.
What do we expect from Zhang Song in the coming months? What do we expect, especially your projects and services that will service the Southeast Asian region?
Okay. They have come with the third stage. So first they issue the coin through IEO. This IEO, the coin will gonna last around almost 4 years, which is only 2 million unit. But for me, as long as the coin being released in the market, today in CMC alone, you can see 4,900 coin available coin in the market. Again, for my concern, is all about usability. When you talk about usability, it's all about adoption. It's all about regulation. Technology leads regulation, right? Regulation will lead to mass adoption, but there will be no mass adoption if the infra is not available. So the focus is now is all about infra. So that's what I like about this. I take it very specifically as a case study, because this is the only coin that I see. Once it take off in the market, 2-3 months later, for specific reason, they come up with the app for the user to use. Okay, so in China, it's very simple. How am I going to change from fossil combustion engine to renewable energy, the electric vehicle, if there's no place for me to charge? Because it's going to save me from 70 cents per kilometer to 10 cents per kilometer, right? So obviously I'm not going to change the car if there's no place for me to charge my car. It's all about the infra, right? For me, you can never go wrong. You can never go wrong if really focus on the foundation or the basic. Let's go back to the basic first. That's why in property also, if they have a certain area, they have a very good infra, what will happen to the property price? It's far further better compared to those less infra. So the same principle applies to the coin. Which one? That's why day to day we are monitoring the available infra, means the station is from 0 to 5 station to 10 station. Today they have 50 station. So but China is too huge. China is too huge. It's 3,200 city. So of course they will focus on the red area, go to blue area, lesser people, and go to inner part of China. Thanks really, thanks to Mr. Caesar for inviting me to this. So anyway, this is my first time, and this is what I wish for. I wish for there's a middleman or any entity that take an effort to educate the public. It's all about education. So for me, again, my focus is fundamental of the coin, but everything must go back to the real fundamental to explore this is all about education. I really appreciate any party, especially EBC, that taking an effort. As he mentioned earlier, EBC wants the entity that recognize this industry, want to explore and to become the pioneer to educate our kids. So for me, the Philippines is very blessed to have a party that try make few efforts by calling speakers outside and then try to educate the market. This is something that everybody must focus on. It's all back to education. Thanks again for ABC. I really appreciate and congratulations to ABC for taking this effort.
Thank you very much. That's the Southeast Asia Regional Marketing Officer of Shangchuang Blockchain Technology, Mr. Alham Jazan.
Before I go any further and talk about why I'm here, I asked this question to a lot of people: what is cryptocurrency? And everybody has a different answer, and which is all right. Everybody defines it in a different way. The way I define cryptocurrency is, for example, you need to know what is money first. What is money? If I ask all of you will have a different answer. Money is primarily just a medium of exchange. It's a transaction. So I buy a bottle of water, I give them money, and my transaction is complete. So it's a medium of exchange. When there was no money, there was a barter system. You give something, you take something. Then later on, the world shifted to coins, actual coins, physical coins, gold coin, silver coin. Then eventually the world shifted to fiat currency, which you have in your pockets. Then the plastic came, credit card, debit card. And now the fifth version of currency is cryptocurrency. So basically it's the fifth generation of currency. And it was primarily built as a medium of exchange, but 80 to 85% of the population is using cryptocurrency as a trading tool. We're just buying, selling, trying to make a few profit out of it. Most of us are losing money, and it's a hard reality. Mr. Kelvin was explaining that when people lose money, they lose faith, and then they contact the regulators, and the regulators are silent on that because since it's a very new phenomena. Is crypto legal or illegal? A lot of countries I visit, and this question comes in, if crypto is legal or illegal. Again, a lot of regulators are silent on that. They have they have not drafted any sort of regulation on that. So my point is that, for example, I have this small remote in my hand. Is this legal or illegal? This is absolutely legal as long as I'm using this for the purpose it has been made, and I'm not trying to misuse it and break somebody's head by misusing this remote. So when people misuse cryptocurrency for scamming, for money laundering, for flight of capital out of country, then of course regulators have a problem and it becomes illegal. So as long as you're using crypto as a trading tool, as a hodler of crypto, a lot of people call it holders of crypto, it's absolutely legal. A lot of people have lost money in cryptocurrency in trading because they don't know how to trade. They don't know the mechanism, why it goes up, why it goes down. When Bitcoin hit $20,000, the world was amazed. It came back to $3,000. And people who bought it at a higher price lost a lot of money, and they're blaming the industry. But the issue is that the population, without knowing anything, go and invest. Just monkey see, monkey do. That somebody invested, I should also invest. Somebody told me, let's get into it. People don't understand why cryptocurrency goes up in the price. First of all, Mr. Emerson here was giving a comparison about fiat currency and cryptocurrency. So fiat currency is unlimited supply. That is why it hits by inflation. Whenever a central bank of any country wants, they can print more money. On the other hand, cryptocurrency is always a limited supply. And on top of that limited supply, they cut the supply up every 4 years. So there's halving process every 4 years. If you look at the cryptocurrency revolution in the last 12 years, the first time crypto was launched was 2008. The first boom came in 2012 after 4 years, when Bitcoin hit $1,000 and FBI and USA and all the regulators jumped into the game and they shut down cryptocurrency because it went up exponentially in a few months. The reason, because they cut the supply. The second boom came in 2017 because in 2016 there was another cut of supply. The next boom is coming in 2020. Our model is Zoocoin coin, registered from UK. We are a legal company in United Kingdom. Our model is to provide you a trading platform where there is less chance of losing money. So how we do it, I don't know how many of you are familiar with crypto trading, so I will just start from the beginning, assuming that you don't know what crypto trading is. There's a lot of volatility in crypto trading. Volatility means the price goes up, the price goes down. So as an investor, as a trader, you're always at risk. If you go to CoinMarketCap, I don't know if somebody can open CoinMarketCap now. If you, by one click, you can see cryptocurrency values going up and down. Open kar de. It can go up and down. So how to safeguard you? As a human, of course, you don't know what is the right time to buy something and what is the right time to sell the coin. So let's see, Bitcoin right now is at 7,250 or 60, I don't know. 7,260. If you can refresh the screen now, please. Just can you refresh it? Just refresh the screen. 7260. Now it's 7256. So in one click, you lost $4. If you would have invested in Bitcoin a minute back, change kar dein. A minute back, you would have lost $4. So this is the fear. That is where people lose money. And when they lose money, they don't blame themselves, they start blaming the industry as a whole. We have developed an arbitrage artificial intelligence robot. I wish I could have shown you on the screen, but since we are in the process of getting a patent done, we won't be able to show you our hash powers and everything on the screen because we don't want the model to be copied before we launch it. So unfortunately, I cannot show it to you on the screen, the model. But how it works, how will it work is that you will have to link 15 exchanges APIs with the robot. For example, if you go to any exchange right now and you pick up any coin, I'm not saying, let's say example Ethereum. I'm a big fan of Ethereum myself actually. So if you check the price of Ethereum in 15 exchanges now, you will see every exchange will have a different price depending on the trade volume, depending on the pair. See right now, for example, Ethereum versus Japanese yen is at 156.91 today. And Ethereum in another exchange, I'm not going to name the exchange, because I'm not going to promote that exchange. Ethereum in another exchange, XYZ exchange, is at 155.34. So it's $1 difference if I buy it from one exchange cheaper and if I sell it and the other exchange higher. So $1 difference. Only just picking it up and selling it.
Open for Business is back, and in the set is the CEO of Zoocoin chain, Mr. Salman Sheikh. Thank you very much.
Thank you for
Salman.
having me. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Off cam, you were telling me that there's a lot of people out there who just go into trading without really knowing the facts, without having all this information. What's your idea and what's your advice to a lot of people who want to invest in cryptocurrency?
Yes, and it's an excellent question. What happened is that a lot of people even don't understand what crypto is. If I ask you what crypto is and I ask somebody else what crypto is, everybody will have a different opinion. Cryptocurrency is basically the fifth version of currency. A lot of people trade into cryptocurrency. They would like to trade because they have heard a lot of good stories out of Google, and they lose money because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know why crypto goes up, why it goes down. There's a full mechanism behind it. It's demand and supply, first of all. Secondly, in comparison to fiat currency, which you have in your pocket, which again, as I mentioned in my speech, is unlimited supply. Government can print pesos whenever they want. But in crypto, it's always a limited supply, first of all. And second of all, every 4 years, they cut the supply in half.
So what are the basic elements, or what should be the information that potential investors should look into before going into
Four things.
Okay.
Technology, utility, what actually the coin does, distribution, and legality. A lot of coins in the market which are not legal, in which people have burned their fingers just because they're selling dreams. So a lot of companies are not selling crypto coins, they're selling dreams. And we would like to buy those dreams because we like to dream. Everybody wants to be rich tomorrow. I want to be rich tomorrow, you want to be rich tomorrow.
And are you saying, sir, that with the introduction of Zoocoin chain, this addresses all the four elements that you mentioned?
Absolutely.
And you said it's the world's first ROI. So
Yes,
can you expound
absolutely.
more on this?
First of all, we are registered in UK, so we are listed. Second, as you mentioned, the first ROI coin. Anybody who wants to invest in our coin, we give him extra, to the investor, we give him extra coins every month as an ROI, as a reward, as a staking reward. So if you or any individual buys a certain amount of coins from us, based on his package, based on the investment amount, we give him a certain amount of percentage every month as a reward, which he can sell in the market and of course make more money than he actually invested. Yeah.
What is your outlook of the Philippine market in terms of crypto
Yeah.
and blockchain technology?
See, if you see the surrounding countries of Philippines, in Bangkok, in Vietnam, they have Bitcoin ATMs. In Tokyo, there are about 600,000 retailers that accept crypto as a payment gateway, as like in the shops. If you go to Middle East, you can buy properties just by paying crypto as a medium of exchange. So my first point was that what is crypto? It's a medium of exchange. It's a currency. So first was barter system 5,000 years ago. Then the physical coins came. Then the fiat currency which you have in pocket. Then plastic money. debit card, credit card, and now the fifth version is crypto. So the outlook in Philippine market, of course, it's a vibrant market. The economy is going up. The country is doing well internationally. Sooner or later, it is a reality. It will rule. So I don't know what else to say from the regulation perspective, but I don't think it's droppable. Keep up the good work. You're doing a noble service. You're educating the community about something which is trending in the international world. As a vibrant market, 100 million people, more than 100 million people in Philippines, as a nation, you have the right and you have to thank EVC for bringing the awareness and educating the population to go into it and make something good for themselves and for their families. So I congratulate you.
Thank you so much. That's the CEO of Zoocoin chain, Mr. Salman Sheikh. Open for Business is back, and with me is the advisor of the International Digital Asset Exchange Association, or IDAX, and the principal consultant of Emphasis, Mr. Nathan Smale. Thank you, Nathan, for coming over.
Thank you very much for having me.
Your topic would be understanding global regulation, and a lot of people out there, especially the ones who have already invested, and also the enthusiasts who would want to go into blockchain and cryptocurrency. In a gist, what do we expect in terms of regulation?
Certainly. So, regulation is a very tricky matter because it can vary so much from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. But I think it's important for people to remember that on the whole, regulations are there designed to actually promote safety for the individual and also for entire countries. So, at a global level, regulation is being designed as much as possible to promote safety. And once we have a safer industry, then you'll actually see more money coming into the market, which actually allows for greater growth and a greater profitability for people.
How do you think should the market react in terms of trust, safety, and security in these new technologies?
I think, like any technology, it really does pay to educate yourself. I think people should do a good amount of research about what they're getting into, but also to look for organizations and companies that really lead the way in terms of best practice in following regulations. So here in the Philippines, it is a huge opportunity for blockchain technologies and particularly cryptocurrency. And we've sort of seen that, companies like CoinsPH do an amazing job of delivering simple cryptocurrency and blockchain experiences to everyday Filipinos. I love their one of their main metrics is the number of hours that they've actually saved people from standing in line. So once you actually sort of start to use their system, you can see how easy cryptocurrency is, and that's a great experience. But at the same time, if you really follow their journey, they've engaged with regulators, they've done all the right things, and they have an amazing process that takes you through to actually make sure you do the right KYC and identity checks and things. They make that process quite seamless, and that allows for people to enter the market quite safely to get experience in cryptocurrency and learn the basics. And that's really important for people to really understand the technology. So I don't think too many people should go from knowing nothing to investing in cryptocurrency. I think it's important to actually, educate yourself, learn about it, then buy a little bit, use it to pay a phone bill, for example.
What is your outlook of the Philippine market in the blockchain industry?
So speaking from a personal perspective, I love it here, which is why I moved here. So I actually live up in Pampanga. But from a global perspective, I think the Philippines is an incredibly interesting test bed for cryptocurrency and blockchain. As you pointed out, there's over 7,000 islands and a huge number of unbanked or underbanked. And so when you actually start to look at that, there's a real opportunity for the Philippines to kind of leapfrog a lot of older technologies that often hold countries back when they're looking to innovate. because we don't have all of those systems that are baked in that people are trying to upgrade, for example, so you can deploy new solutions quicker when you're not held back by legacy systems. I think a huge thanks to Eagle Broadcasting. It's such a good opportunity to educate and engage, and I think that's probably the biggest takeaway message for everyone in cryptocurrency and blockchain. If we actually know the technology, we should use that as an opportunity to educate others and take everyone on the journey, and I think Eagle Broadcasting Corporation is doing a fantastic job of that.
That's the advisor of the International Digital Asset Exchange Association and principal consultant of Emphasis, Mr. Nathan Smith.
So 3 of those key elements are that your identity is not directly linked to the ownership of a cryptocurrency wallet. It can be, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. So in that respect, what happens on the blockchain, it is traceable and we can see it, but it's not directly linked to an identifiable person. Secondly, it does allow peer-to-peer transactions. So 2 individuals can send cryptocurrency to one another without it going through any banks or anything like that. So if it's just between 2 people, how is it regulated? Who's going to control that? That makes it difficult. And then thirdly is with a 24-word key phrase, you're able to create an infinite amount of accounts, and each of those is completely separate from the other and can't be linked. So an individual could create a new crypto wallet for every transaction. These are things that make it really hard to regulate, but it doesn't mean that we can't, and it doesn't mean that we shouldn't. So when we look at regulation, I tend to break it down quite simplistically. You have heard that there are a lot of nuances around this, but I like to think of the SEC as protecting the people and the individuals, whereas Banco Central is about protecting the nation. And I'll explain these 2 levels of regulation in a moment. So, the SEC protecting people's investments. The SEC put out regulations and they have a lot of rules as to what should constitute an investment, and that is designed to stop Filipinos losing money. And this is around the world. Typically, most regulation in this space is to make sure that if people are going to be investing in something, whether it's stocks, whether it's cryptocurrency, or any other matter, that the right checks have been done to minimize the chance of people losing money. It does not mean you won't, but it's about minimizing that risk to the individuals of a nation that are putting money in. So that tends to be one of the main remits of an SEC, regardless of what country they're in. Now, when we look at a central bank, typically a central bank in history, they're responsible for things like maintaining a stable economy, managing international transfers, things like that. So that was the smooth running of a nation. We then had a moment of terror, 9/11, and the central banks typically gained a lot more responsibility for ensuring that things like that don't happen again. And that's where we actually, was touched on earlier, the Financial Action Task Force. That's a intergovernmental body that sits above each nation and sets out a set of guidelines to say, we should put these rules in place to minimize the chance of terrorist funding and money laundering. Each country then signs up to that and says, well, if the Financial Action Task Force said that this is the best way to protect us, let's write those as laws within our country. And countries who don't participate get put on lists to say, oh, maybe you shouldn't deal with that country because they're not willing to come to the party when it comes to stopping terrorism. So they're kind of the 2 methods of regulation. There's protecting the people from losing money through investments, and then trying to protect the economy in the country as a whole. And for anyone who is looking to actually start to get involved from the usage of cryptocurrency, or dare I say even investing in it, my advice, although it says not advice, is to find companies that are actually working with regulators who do have safety checks in place and are doing all the right things. And I think it's a really important part of learning about cryptocurrency is to use it. So before people start looking at investing in it, I would say buy a little bit, use it to pay a bill, send it to a friend. If you actually start to understand how the technology works, you'll start to really understand the opportunity that exists, and that's where you can get more and more into it and go down the rabbit hole.
So in a nutshell, and I guess I can end my talk here, this is SSI. SSI is all the information in your wallet put into the phone, or put into something more convenient in a digital age, like we carry around, and then we present to whomever wishes to know who we are, right? Because it's all about identity. How can I identify that you are who you say you are? Okay. So enter self-sovereign identity, decentralized identity, blockchain identity, or portable digital identity. So what is self-sovereign identity? So it's the ability for people, organizations, things that you can hold and manage all your credentials, sabi natin credentials, that allow people or organizations to verify who you are, with added cryptographic superpowers naman, right? Because it's in the digital age, if you don't have cryptography, mas madali makukuha yung mga information nyo, diba? Unless you want to transact online without any cryptography, like transacting with a bank. Walang SSL, walang HTTPS. Diretso yan makuha yung information nyo. So what are credentials? These credentials in SSI speak are your passports, your identity cards, your gym card, even your payslips. That is your credential. It is something issued by an issuer to you as the holder of the identity. And it is guaranteed by the issuer that you are that person. Okay. But you control these credentials. They answer the question, who? In your paper, right? So if you try to open up a bank account, how many identifications do you need to prepare or to present? Dalawa. Diba? Bakit dalawa? Bakit hindi isa lang? Because if you just present one identity, you can actually fake it and it may match or not match to certain records. But if you show two government identities, there's a less chance, less risk that you'll present two fake passport and identification like a driver's license.
You're still watching Open for Business, and with the coverage of the EBC forum on blockchain and cryptocurrency here at EBC. And with me now is the head of the technology development of the Technological Institute of the Philippines, Engineer John Clark Naldoza. Engineer John, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure having the talk here.
Yeah. How important is identity, self-sovereign identity, in the system of blockchain and cryptocurrency?
Well, in the system of blockchain and cryptocurrency, it's not so important per se, but it's more about the whole digital experience. Because moving forward, everybody's going to be digital, right? And even on paper, we can have identity theft. So you can steal somebody's identity and walk around and claim this is who I am.
Yeah.
With self-sovereign identity, we believe, or at least I believe, it is a way for us to cut down on digital identity theft and ensuring that the identity that you are, who you say you are, is kept and within purview of everybody else that wishes to use the system.
What is it that a lot of the people, especially the ones who are watching now, should focus on to ensure that they keep their identity safe and secure?
Well, to keep their identity safe and secure, you have to just understand all the information that you provide to different organizations can be exposed, can be hacked. So, in effect, if you're providing this information to these organizations, you are beholden upon them to keep that information sacred and safe. That means you have no control over that information or security. So that's more security through obscurity is not security, right? I obscure, I guarantee it is safe. So it must be safe.
Print yung iba.
Oh, it is safe. I guarantee you. But there are always incidents that happen with data breaches, and just the one with Jollibee that got breached. You remember that whole data about their customers went awry. So, if you want your identity to be sacred and only beholden upon you, then we need to think about, in the digital age, how can we keep that identity sacred and kept to the holder? You as a holder should have the absolute right to your information and your identity. It shouldn't be all the other organizations that say, give me your information, give me all your information. You just need to know if I'm above 21. Do you need something else?
In your view, how is the Philippine educational system preparing the huge the students and the future entrepreneurs in this new technology?
So I think the most critical part that we need to enable within our educational system is ensuring that we have proper reading comprehension.
Yes.
That's number one. You also need to provide time for these kids to be able to learn what they want to learn. You cannot force stuff down their throats. You cannot just say, you have to learn all this stuff. No. What do they want to learn? We don't know. They can go into a certain direction, but suddenly, I'll become a musician. Wait, you were studying to be nuclear physicist or chemical engineer, just like the guy from Queen, right?
Yeah.
So you have to let these kids learn on their own and understand what they want to do. But of course, you need to give them the proper tool sets, proper tool chains to be able to comprehend things that are coming in. If they don't have those tool chains with them to understand the very basics. I'm very thankful for the opportunity that Eagle Broadcasting Corporation was able to provide for me and also my other speakers to be able to explain blockchain. There are a lot of things that blockchain provides, and it is like some sort of tree that has a lot of branches and has a lot of leaves. And if you are one of the persons just like who I am, I believe in lifelong learning. So you don't just say, this is blockchain and that's it. Blockchain may be something different 10 years from now. It may not be called blockchain. It might be called something like distributed ledger technology or something else. But the point is, don't stop on saying that you have just learned everything. Keep on learning and see what the future brings for you and for the Philippines.
That is Engineer John Clark Aldoza, the head of the technology development of the Technological Institute of the Philippines.
So let's start. Decentralized. Blockchain is a decentralized, meaning it's composed of peer-to-peer network of nodes without a central authority. Yan. So yun ang keyword. Decentralized is there's no central authority. It is also public, meaning every participant of a blockchain network can obtain a copy of all data in the blockchain. That's why ngayon there are blockchain phones from Samsung, from HTC, but you will need at least 500 gigabytes of memory to store all the data in the blockchain because it's about 400 gig plus right now. So it doesn't mean na meron kayong Samsung phone or HTC phone is you can store the blockchain in your phone. You still need that 500 gigabyte of, not megabyte, 500 gigabyte of storage. And the blockchain is permanent, meaning when it is recorded in the ledger, you cannot remove, you cannot delete. That's why it's called immutable. It cannot be changed. And that's also part of the security of the database. Not just being encrypted, but being immutable because all the records or all the transactions are linked. That's why it's called chain of records. And trustees. What's trustees? Trustees are the miners. So when you hear of miners, These are not the people. These are the computers that processes your transaction to generate the hash code, or what some people call the thumbprint, because it's unique in every transaction. And miners usually get paid a fee for their work. This also depends on the value of Bitcoin right now. So at the current value, $7,000, $8,000, it's not so profitable because you have to spend for electricity. But if you get free electricity, it's always profitable. But why do we have so many blockchains? Bakit hindi isa lang? I hope you can see blockchain project ecosystem is not just in cryptocurrency. It's not just in FinTech. It's also used as developer tools. Oops. It's also used for sovereignty. That's why the e-governance is also using blockchain. In the FinTech world, as value exchange, as shared data, if you hear of storage or storj, it's also used for authenticity and so many other blockchain projects. So when we speak of blockchain, it's not just Bitcoin. But when you speak of Bitcoin, it is blockchain. Now, these are some of the 30 non-financial use cases of blockchain technology. So blockchain technology is not just for financial, not just for cryptocurrency. Blockchain technology can also be for authorship and ownership, for energy, reputation verification, e-voting for the government, real estate recording. So many industries are now adopting blockchain and to implement this type of solutions. Please just get a copy of the presentation so you can read all of this. Blockchain in automotive, cloud storage, credit history, cybersecurity, etc. So blockchain is not limited to, what we're saying here is blockchain is not just for cryptocurrency, blockchain is not just for financial technology.
In our term or phrase of the week, you take a refresher of business terms to make you updated, more informed, and ready to make smarter business decisions. Our phrase of the week is distributed ledger. A distributed ledger is a system of recording information that is simply distributed or spread across many different devices. The blockchain, for example, is a distributed ledger that was originally created to keep track of all Bitcoin transactions. And our word of the week is from Mohsin Jamil. He said, "Crypto is money 2.0, a huge deal." Thank you for watching Open for Business. Join us again in the next episodes of Open for Business for more insights from CEOs, thought leaders, and industry experts promoting business development in the Philippines. See you again every Saturday and Sunday here in Open for Business, where we discuss business information, deliver the latest business news to keep you informed and open for business and be ahead of the curve from vision to action. You're on Facebook Live on Eagle News, and you can watch us again in the video section of the Eagle News Facebook page and on eaglenewslive.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Eagle News. For Open for Business, this is Cesar Vallejos. Have a great day.